What can you do when you have guests in your salon struggling with hair loss? Hi, I'm Kayla Swanson, and I'm your host of the Profitable Salon Podcast. And hanging out with me today is Ketmanee Whitlock. What's up, Ketmanee? How are you?
I'm good, Kayla. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really, really, really good. I'm excited for a conversation today because we're talking about something that I've never talked about in the 54 episodes I've done. And I don't hear a lot about of like, what can you do when you have people really struggling with hair loss? I know a lot about like, yeah, you can have like wigs and do implants and all these things that you can do. But what if people have that condition, they're losing their hair and they're really frustrated about it? What can you do about that? So Getmany, tell me a little bit about you first. So tell me you own your salon, where you're located, that kind of stuff, so we can get to know you a little bit.
Sure. I live in Johnson City, Tennessee, East Tennessee. I own Edify Salon and Extension Bar. And this month we are opening Edify's Head Spa and Trichology Lounge.
Wow, that's so cool. So tell me about trichology. So trichology is a big conversation we're going to have today. You went to a school to learn about trichology. So tell me a little bit about that. What is trichology?
Sure. So trichology is actually the study of hair loss. And, being behind the chair for 19 years, we're always talking to people about challenges with thinning hair and losing hair and things of that nature. And we have very little information from our beauty schools and whatnot. So I decided to take a course and get certified to be a trichologist and bring some information to our community about hair loss solutions, regenerative, non-surgical hair loss solutions.
Wow, that's really cool because, yeah, I mean, there's like, yeah, you go have surgery, you could do like implants or whatever it looks like. There's
like
so many different things.
and hair
Toupees.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Exactly. And not everybody wants to do that. And I know that some people, it is like losing their hair is a very sensitive subject for them. I know people in my life who lose their part of age. Sometimes I've known people who were really young when they started losing their hair. And I think having a resource available or even knowledge about it is something that can be very valuable for you in your salon, to just learn, have education and get certified. So when you went through school, how long did it take you the process?
Well, it was an online course. They only have their coursework certain times throughout the year, so you have to schedule with them. I did my first two courses in probably about a 3.5 to 4 month span, and now I wait till October to do the final course. I definitely think that the school gives you so much more information, and like mind blown. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta share this with people. So it's fantastic. We give people solutions and they trust us, but we're not really equipped to give them long-term solutions. And the advice that we've given them along the way has really not. After I've gone to this coursework, I realized the advice that I've given them isn't exactly the best advice.
Yeah. Until you went through the course, now you feel like you're a little bit more not a little bit, but a lot more educated, and you're like, okay, I'm giving you advice that I know is going to work and going to support you because you've been educated on those things, which is really, really cool. So if you're listening to this, this is an opportunity just to dip your toes into what's possible and to learn, get a little bit more education on what's out there and what there is to even know. Getmany came on here and we're going to talk about what she's learned through the process of going to school, so you can kind of get a little bit of an intro into it. If you're interested in the school, I will put the website, a link in the description. You can check that out if you're interested in it. But we're going to talk today about what Getmany learned and then how she's been able to utilize that to create a whole new aspect of her salon to be able to serve people at a different level. Okay. So let's dive into so remind me again. So it's trichology? Trichology. Thank you. When you learn a new word, you're like, okay, I got to say it a couple times before you got it. So trichology. So in school, like, what are the big things that they give me some of the main things that you guys really learn when it comes to trichology?
Well, if I can, I'd love to start off with a couple statistics that
of course, please.
Wild. So in the early 2000s, on average, 35 million men were suffering from hair loss and 25 million women. Fast forward to 2024, and now it's 50 million men and 30 million women. So that means in 24 years, 15 million more of our population on the masculine side are having challenges. And then 9 million more on the feminine side having challenges with hair loss. So in the 2000s, By age 35, 66% of men were having issues. And by age 40, 40% of women. So fast forward to 2024, 70% of men at age 35, and then 50% of women at age 40. So when you hear numbers that jump so high like that, I'm like, there's a problem. What's going on? So I decided to go to school, and so first of all, there's a lot of kinds of alopecias out there, and our role is to find out what type of alopecia this person has and what multifaceted treatment plan can we offer them. A lot of times alopecia could be androgenetic, which means family, aunts, uncles, it's in your genes. It can be shifted though. Sometimes it's traction alopecia, extension wearers, braiders, ponytails, tight ponytails all the time. Sometimes it's stress related. Sometimes it's just a quick amount of stress, like after pregnancy. It could be after anesthesia. Your hair falls out a few months after that. So learning about all these potential reasons why hair falls out makes you go, okay, how do we fix it? So now we learn about, potentially maybe it's some supplemental needs. Maybe they need some light therapy. Maybe they need the environment on their scalp health needs to be shifted. So we have all these things that we're familiar with in the salon environment: oily hair, dandruff, dry skin. All those things are challenges for hair to grow out of the skin. And when you think about your scalp health is going to be a huge deterrent for hair to either grow or a huge ambassador for your hair to grow. So, when we're normally washing our face, and as women, we put on these serums, or men put on serums too, they have great skincare, and we are exfoliating our face. When we're in the shower, we're washing our hands or washing our bodies with a washcloth or a loofah. We're exfoliating that skin. We never do it up here. Do we do that? No, we don't. And in fact, a lot of us don't wash our hair for several days. So you're just accruing oils, accruing more dry shampoo, blocking follicles. So there is so much to be said about the scalp health and the scalp environment that is going to help or not help. So that was fascinating to me. So then I said, we need to do a head spa. There's no way around it. We need to change the environment on the scalp. Combine that with finding out what kind of alopecia they have to determine whether they need some supplements. Maybe they need guidance on nutrition. Nutrition is so big in the world of what's going on in our body and how our hair and our skin and our nails reflect. And so a lot of times it's like, what are we absorbing as a human being? And what aren't we absorbing? What do we need to absorb more? Light therapy can help, because light, like sunlight outside, brings blood flow to the capillaries on our skin or on our scalp. If you don't have enough blood flow, those capillaries shrink. The capillaries is what delivers nutrients to the hair follicles.
Whoa.
Mind blown, right?
I know.
We need to grow those capillaries. How do we do that? With low-level light therapy. How do we shift the androgenetic stuff that's going inside? So everyone is a walking puzzle, and I'm so excited. So excited to help them with their puzzle.
Yeah. I love the passion that I can hear. Yeah, no kidding. I think once you had the motivation, I want to go find what could help these people. You learn the statistics and you realize, man, there's a whole audience of people who are going to need something like this. And then you find the education. You're like, wow, now there's actual solutions. I know sometimes you get a problem and you're like, well, I don't know what the solution is. And so you kind of get stumped there. And to be like, how can you offer something that's different and unique to be like, you do have this problem. Well, I can help solve this problem for you.
Right.
Now, I know a lot of people, there's people who obviously have an obvious problem like alopecia, or they have something they can tell I have hair loss to this degree. But what about the people who don't necessarily have a problem or don't see a problem that they don't think about it? Can this kind of work? Is it important for just the people who are struggling with alopecia or struggling with hair loss and have pain points around it? Or is this something that's beneficial for every person that comes into the salon, everybody who has a head of hair, which is everybody, almost everybody, to be able to have the education on how to have a healthy scalp?
So I honestly think when it comes down to trichology, yes, there's going to be the people that have noticed hair loss. There's going to be the people that um, want to come and talk to you about their sensitive issues. But on the spa side of our new business, that's where we're dealing with the scalp health and the scalp environment. So we have some services on the menu that are simply just luxury. You want someone to wash your hair, clean your scalp, massage you for an hour, come on down. That's a great client. But we also have one of our services, it's called the Scalp Scientist. And that's where we're breaking out a scope. We're taking a look at your scalp, at your follicles on a 200 times magnification scope. We are using the right treatments and herbs and minerals to apply to your skin on your scalp to try and shift that environment. And I think everyone needs a healthy and happy scalp environment. You know, I really do, because no matter what, according to these statistics, you're potentially going to be touched by this scenario. So why not start making sure that the environment is not an obstacle? I think that's great, you know?
Yeah. Because it's one thing to, like, have your hair be healthy, what hair is on your head, but it's not like you're constantly growing out new hair. And so your scalp is where the hair starts. And so where the environment of your scalp and how your hair is as your hair is growing out, like, it's going to play a lot into it. Absolutely. And if you just don't realize and don't have that education, don't have that knowledge of how your scalp and the healthy and the condition that it's in, what you're eating, what you're doing, what you're taking, your stress levels and all the things that play into it. And you're like, man, like, I know I've gone up and down with my hair being healthy. I've always had really dry hair, and I wash my hair once a week, and I'm still on a journey to try to figure out how to make my hair feel as healthy and happy as I want it to feel. Right. And sometimes you just don't realize that there's other components of it's just not necessarily what you put in your hair, but also like your routine and what you're eating, all those things. Sure. And I know in 2024, there's a lot of information out there like, oh, do this thing and do this hack and put coconut oil in your hair and do these things and do all that. And people try everything that TikTok suggests, and don't always have the answers, because everybody's hair is different. So I love what you're saying on how you can go into the scalp and be like, okay, let me tell you the story that your scalp is telling me based off of the signs that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. And I think having that kind of technology is just like a different level of support. Imagine in your own salon, you're listening to this, and you have that level of support for people, and like, hey, we can go even deeper and provide almost like a beacon of light to people who are struggling, and be like, okay, well, I can tell you exactly what's going on and help you in a way that's actually going to get you results. Because I think a lot of times people are like, we're kind of tired of promised results that we don't actually receive, or an educated guess, or, even though you have all the education that you think that you need, sometimes there's going to be people coming into your salon that you don't 100% know unless you do get the education. Right. So you were saying that this is more like a continued education. Like, you can go and take this course, anybody can take it, and you get continued education just to have the knowledge, whether you build a whole separate spot in your salon, or get a separate space, or you just apply the fact that you realize that there's more into it that leads to hair loss, and get the education, which I think is really cool. Mm-hmm. So in doing that, what has been like some of the in practicing and in educating and having all this knowledge, what has been some big things that you've been able to accomplish through all the things that you've learned?
Well, I definitely would say one big thing is that we opened another business.
Yeah, right. That's good. That's really good.
Ready to transform your business and improve your salon's profitability? With Lonza's 3-in-1 technology and intermixable shades, your hair color inventory is streamlined with limitless creativity behind the chair. Click the link below to unveil the secret to salon success.
I think one of the biggest things about it is it's very simple, and we just don't realize how simple the problem is, or how simple the solutions can be. Yeah. Okay, so I want to bring the topic back a little bit to the scalp health. When you think about it, so we sometimes have oily scalp. So those are overactive sebaceous glands pushing oil through the follicle, creating an oil well around that little hole that the hair is coming out of. That's the little baby, fragile baby hairs don't have a chance to grow out of all of that oil. It's, you're suffocating that follicle, right? So then we have dry shampoo and we have products. What about if it's psoriasis or eczema? What about if they have dandruff and they just don't have a way for that little hair to pop up? So that environment is so very important for us to get balanced out. It could be a pH issue, honestly. It could be, so many little things. When it comes to like what I've learned and everything, I've learned that nutrition is so huge. When we eat anything, that is our body's fuel. The body will go through and take the nutrients out of that fuel to support the organs in order of how you live. So the most important organ is going to get the first batch of nutrients out of that food you ate. The next important organ. So it's going to go all the way down the line. And I hate to tell you, but hair is last on the list. It's last on the list. So if you're not eating a nutrient dense diet, hair doesn't get anything. But hair affects us so much in our self-esteem. You know, maybe a middle-aged person going up for a promotion against someone who's younger, your hair is going to affect the way you walk into that interview. I promise you that. People might say, I don't care about my hair. Liars. You do. I care. A lot of people care about their hair because it affects how they hold their head up. It just does.
I think sometimes people end up not like just deciding that they don't care because they are suffering so much with a problem that they don't know how to fix.
Right.
And they've been struggling with it their whole life. Like, I mean, I struggled with my hair. I never liked my hair. It was frizzy. It was dry. I never really went to salons when I was younger. And so my hair has always been a pain point for me and a problem I never thought I'd solve. I was like, well, I'll have dry, frizzy hair for my whole life. And that's just what I am. So I wore my hair up a lot. I never wore it down. And I just settled into like, well, yeah, I don't care about my hair too much. And I just focused on other things because I thought that my hair was a problem that I wasn't going to be able to solve. Right. And so I think being able to offer somebody like you said, like the problem may seem like a lot, but the solution can be easy if you just get educated in the right way to be able to be like, you may think you don't care about your hair. And if you're like, no, I really don't, then is it because that you feel like you have a problem with your hair that you don't know how to solve? And being able to help your guests.
Feeling, you know?
Say that again.
Did you talk yourself into that feeling because you didn't know, you didn't have a solution, you didn't have any understanding about it, or you didn't have anyone to gently help you understand about it? You know, exactly. No one wants to grow up through life feeling crappy about themselves. So we will talk to ourselves about something that we don't have a solution for in our own system and talk it down. That's what we do, unfortunately. So I feel you there. People will resort to that because it's easier than trying to find another solution.
Yeah, spending more money and going through more products and more recommendations and people being like, oh, well, this worked for me. And we all, at the end of the day, we all have very different hair. Right. The way that our bodies, what we eat, how we do, how our hair grows, it is different. There can be similarities amongst multiple of us, but we have very unique hair to our environment. How are you sleeping? How often do you wash your hair? Like we all have a different story and tale to tell about the life of our hair. And I mean, your hair can grow out the hair, the bottom of my hair has some things of what I ate from years ago when it first grew out. Right. And I think everything's connected and being more educated on what options you have is so valuable and, which is really cool. So tell me a little bit more, let's dive in a little bit for those who are into this and in this conversation still with us. What are some of other things that you really learned when you were we talked a lot about scalp health. So what are some other things that you really learned when it came to how to support people who are losing their hair?
Well, I think that because I'm a hairstylist, we have an ability to talk to people and get people to share with us. And I think that skill is something that's really going to help benefit me in the trichology lounge and in the trichology space. Being approachable and being someone that can get people to share about themselves on a very personal level is a skill set that I didn't realize was going to help me a lot. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my 19 years of training. But another thing that I thought was very interesting is that very little people actually do anything about trichology. Dermatology offices are generally the offices that could talk about trichology, but I found out through my schooling that a lot of them don't really put a lot of trichology into their business plan. And oddly enough, I was told that a very big reason why they don't have trichology services a lot within their businesses is because health insurance companies generally don't have a code for health insurance claims about trichology. I think there's only a couple of them. So the rest of the alopecia varieties out there and alopecia diagnoses out there are not going to be covered under insurance. So as a dermatology office, they don't care to let that small part of dermatology fall by the wayside because it's not profitable for them, or it's less profitable than the other things. And I'm like, where is the heart to help people? Where's the heart to help people? So, with that said, we're just going to help people. I'm not looking. Of course, we want to make a profit and earn an income off of it. But ideally, I would just like to be in multiple cities with the Head Spa and the Trichology Lounge, helping people, and in turn, building relationships with local salons so we can help them with their clients.
Yeah. Which is huge.
Yeah.
So tell me a little about the processes as you implemented this. So you said that you have opened a different, like a location, because you have to have different rules of what you can do. And so what did the process look like as you tried to open your own, like, we want to be able to offer this as a service or in your own, not necessarily in your salon, but in its own way. What did the process look like as you began to open your own space to be able to offer these kinds of solutions?
Right. Well, I knew that I needed to have a space with several private rooms. I knew I needed to, and it's kind of weird. Trichology falls in a really weird little category where the State Board of Cosmetology doesn't care about it, and the Board of Health is saying that it doesn't fall under the Board of Health. So, me being a rule follower to some degree, wasn't sure how I was going to open the business, because I need a business license from my city, but do I need a specific license? Because we're not massage, we're not doing hair, we're not doing skincare. So that was kind of a weird little funky thing, but we crossed those bridges and have insurance on the location and everything. And I think the biggest thing is, like, I'm used to having a team around me. So this is a little bit different, working solo in the space across the way. Now, we do have some practitioners for the Head Spa. But other than that, I've owned several businesses. So it was just finding out the legalities and what paperwork I needed to handle to open.
Yeah. But asking the right questions. Yeah, getting the answers to, like, I don't know, and don't let I don't know be the reason to stop. If this is something that you're passionate about or that you're interested in, even to any kind of degree, like, it's okay to wonder and to ask the questions that you need to get the answers, and just move forward in it. Like, well, there's this rule here and they don't accept it here, and but just moving forward in it. And it's like, trichology is out there, and it's a up and rising form of education that people are looking towards, because as numbers go higher and higher and over years, as more and more people are struggling with hair loss, people are going to be looking for that solution. And if you can ultimately provide that for people and provide a place, as it's like, there's not a lot of trichology places out there where people can go and find the answers that trichology can offer. And so I think getting on that train and being like, okay, well, I want to become a salon or open a business that can support those people in my area. And because it'll be, it's going to grow, and that's millions and millions of people. 50 million men, you said 50 million men and 25 million women. That's a lot of people out there struggling with these kinds of things. It's a big client base for something that isn't offered a lot of places. People are going to be able to find their solutions and their answers, but being able to offer a place like that where people can come to your salon, come to your spa, and get answers, and like, hey, look at my scalp and tell me the answers that are specific to me, is something that's just unique, that's up and coming. And I know we talk a lot about on this podcast on what's changing, what's evolving, what's new, newfound technologies and different things that you can do in your salon to be able to stay up to times and provide and support your guests so much more than you ever could 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. So much has changed, and just getting more education. That's like when I had the opportunity to bring Ketmanee on here and talk about something that I've honestly never heard of before, to just bring out the education and help people just get more educated on what solutions are out there and how much more you can serve your guests and your clients and everybody who walks in your doors, and even yourself and your staff, like being able to get educated in a way that provides people an opportunity to make more money, to grow their business, and ultimately serve more people in your salon, which is really cool.
Absolutely. I think one thing that's really interesting too is that as we are opening, I want to start building relationships with other salons, and I'm very curious to see how that's going to pan out, because our salon industry isn't always the kindest to one another. But I have to find a way to show them that I'm not after their clientele. And that's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. I also realized too that a lot of the head spas around, because we're doing full service, scalp care on them, they do not have a stylist on board or anyone to blow dry their hair. So when it came down to sourcing locations, I wanted something close enough to my salon that they could leave the head spa and then go to the salon to follow through with a blowout so they can go out the rest of the day and the week or whatnot. And that was a little bit of an issue. Our head spa and trichology lounge is across the hallway from us in the same building. Thankfully, that was available. But if it wasn't available, I would have probably had to put that on hold. So you kind of have to think about what the client needs all the way out the door, instead of just, oh, we're going to do this and then you're off with wet hair for the rest of the day. That's different, So we're trying to be full service. And as we expand into other cities, I will try and build relationships. I will definitely be looking for a location very close to another salon, because that would be ideal, so that they can maybe just walk a couple doors down and get their blowout.
Yeah. And learn, get more space, connect to other people, and realize that it's just, it's not, you're not opening another salon business necessarily, but you're opening an opportunity for people to find answers that they can't find in the salon because of like the questions that you need to ask to get the answers for them. It's got to be a more private thing, so it's got to be its own thing.
Right.
It's not necessarily a competition with other salons. It's like, hey, I'm opening this as a add-on, as a benefit to your guests, and their hair is healthier, so that when they come back to your salon, they have healthier hair to be able to cut and color. And it's honestly like, let me get you more business by helping your guests get healthy scalps and figure out why they're losing their hair. Because if they lose all their hair, then they can't come to your salon in the first place. Right. So being able to add this in as an option to find better answers and to help people, because I know nobody wants to lose their hair. Or as you get older, it starts to thin out. That's still hair loss. Yeah. Your hair thinning out is still hair loss, because you once had thicker hair and were growing more hair. Now you're growing less hair. Your hair's starting to thin. Oh, yeah. And it's a part of aging, but also knowing of what that looks like and what is the process and why does that happen, and getting that education is huge. I think it's awesome.
But we don't have to suffer like that anymore. Now that we have education, tools, guidance, there's no reason for us to suffer with that anymore,
Totally. Totally. Nice. Well, this has been such a good conversation. I've had a blast. It always goes by really fast, and I get really invested into what we're talking about, because I think this is super cool as an opportunity that if you're listening to this and you're interested and you're like, man, this is something that I want to look more into, I'll put the link to the school that Ketmanee went to in the description of this podcast. You can go check it out for yourself. Also put Ketmanee's Instagram, so you can follow her as well, follow her journey with this, and see how it's starting to grow and to be able to serve more people in her area, and hopefully be able to franchise out into other areas, as it's a growing problem, and with an answer, which I think that in all the world of a lot of problems that we occur, it's fun to have an opportunity to be able to provide people with solutions that is easier than you might think. And maybe you've been trying to deal with it for a long time, you're on sorts of medication, trying all these different things, that's not working, but being able to give a very educated solution to people who are really struggling, which is awesome. So maybe before we wrap up, is there anything any bits of some really statement golden nuggets of, as you've gone through this process and you've got this education, and I can feel the passion and the excitement that you have for this, what are some big golden nuggets that you've been able to discover in your journey with trichology?
Oh goodness. I think what we really don't realize is that almost everyone is going to cross this problem. And the golden nugget is to be sensitive, stay sensitive. not everyone's going to be ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
They're going to have to come to it in their own time. You know, we just have to be sensitive and be there when they're ready. I think another golden nugget might really honestly be that the hairstylists out there that are offering biotin and, you know, collagen and all these, you know, over the market or over the counter supplements, I just want you to really realize that these supplements don't work for everybody. So please do a little bit of research before people just start consuming things and then declaring that it doesn't work. It may not have been good for their initial system anyways. And that's something that I fell into a problem because I told everyone biotin. I even told some people prenatal vitamins, which is not a terrible thing, but it's not for everybody. Everyone's got a different unique situation. So that's...
You can't clump everybody in.
Big deal. Be sensitive.
Yeah. Be sensitive and realize everybody's different. I love it. Thank you so much, Ketmanee, for hanging out with me today and have this conversation. If you want more information or have more questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I'll put our number in the description. You can always text us support. We'd love to support you and your salon. If you're looking to open a new business and to venture into more things, more avenues, more education, we have so many people that have just dove into all sorts of things. We have a huge community of people that would love to come alongside you and support you. So thank you for hanging out with us on this episode of Profitable Salon Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a review, and check us out at profitablesalon.com for more episodes, content, and to help you turn your salon into the business you've always dreamt of.